Hey guys, this is Turok, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing One Piece chapter 1172. So the last chapter finished off the flashback that we had that was made it roughly 18 full chapters of the flashback. We covered a lot of stuff there about Harold's flashback. That is interesting too. That's one of the... Now that rings up, we've only had a handful of chapters now that had flashbacks that go way beyond the lifetime of even some of our older characters in One Piece, like Whitebeard and Garp, because we had the flashback for shoot, who am I thinking of? The Mont Blanc. Shoot, I can't think of the name. No, what's it? Not Mont Blanc. Nolan the Liar, that as has gone on in history. It was like 400 years ago, and a little bit of stuff with the Emmett 200 years ago. I feel like there's one other one too, other than this. And going back to Harold in his youth about 109 years ago. So it was very interesting to have another flashback like that, where like a lot of these legendary characters that we've known throughout the story, like Roger, Whitebeard, Garp, where not even their parents may not have been born yet in some of those cases, especially in potentially in like this case too with Harold's. When Harold was young. We learned a lot about Rocks and his crew dynamic and everything like that. And then the stuff with Loki, Hiruden, and their father explored. So now we're moving back to the present. We've spent like, God, how long has it been now since we saw Straw Hats? I heard someone else say, I think they said June was when the flashback started. So like about 7 months we had almost without the Straw Hats. So a little over 6, yeah. So anyways, now the Hiruden and the others are starting to go up, as well as so everyone except I think Loki and Luffy are the only ones who are still going to stay in the underworld at this point. Hiruden and his crew, Sanji, Zoro, and Chopper and Scopper are going to be returning to the surface now to help be like reinforcements to help the others in the endeavor to stop the God's Knights and save the giant children from being kidnapped in the scheme here to subjugate the Elbaf into it being part of this like auxiliary force to the world government that Imu wants to have more strengthen his like stranglehold across the world. Thinking about this, like, did the other giant nations? We know that Ida, Hiruden's mom, came from a different one. I forget which. I think it was in the West Blue she came from. Anyway, we saw that wherever she came from, based on her attire, that they have probably a modernized nation compared to Elbaf, because she was dressed like, I think when we first met her, she's like in a tank top and wearing like jean shorts. And the Elbathians are wearing like furs and leather stuff in a very old-fashioned style, a representative of like the Oda's representing the Scandinavian period when the Viking Age. So what I was going to get at is, I wonder if those other giant nations that are out there in the world, I wonder if any of them are allowed in the world, are in the world government as the accepted into the world government as a member, so they have to pay the heavenly tribute and stuff like that. Oh wait, no, they did say that, didn't they? Actually, that's why they had John Giant. I know they meant that we have other giants in the world government in the Marines. I'm just trying to think if that they specified if those other nations are also part of the world government. So what I'm getting at is if this scheme by Imu was successful, I have a feeling that the first thing Imu might do with the giants of Elbaf would be to go and attack those other giant nations that he has not been able to subjugate, because then he could just use their force, use this military force rather than waste the Navy's resources to do that, because he probably wants to keep the Navy. Even though they're all expendable to him, I can imagine he would want to not have their use them on that endeavor to subjugate other nations that might weaken the Navy from being able to deal with pirate activity such as the Yonko. So that was just a thought that came to my head this morning. We got everyone's going to the top, and then the last thing was when you saw Loki and Luffy facing off against one of those Drugger, one of the conjured apparitions that the Killingham is created using the fears of other people around him, in this case using Elbaf citizens. I think specifically the children he's tapping into, but he did do some of the adults, because he had apparitions created that looked like the wives of some of the giant men going after them. So but these other ones, these monster ones, I think are coming specifically only from the children, because they all fear these kind of these fairy tale type stuff that don't exist in this world. That's one thing that's funny about this so far in One Piece. I noticed we got all these weird devil fruits, and now we found out there's dark magic type powers that Emu can possesses and can convey endow to other people. But there's still things like these kind of monsters, like the ones that are Killingham conjured, don't actually exist. They're just they're not there isn't like an underworld here that we know of, a place like that where these kind of monsters, or another world where demons like that exist, unless that's where emus are, unless there is a place like that and emus tapping into a power like that. But that's something for another day, a theory, or something that hopefully Oda will maybe reveal to us at the at some point. He'll probably reveal emu's power, but it'll be interesting to see what it is specifically that if there's other monsters down there, because we do know there's spirits, because of that's what there's something with that too, where people pass on, and Brook is tapping into something with that. He's trained in the time skip. He's trained his devil fruit even more and learns how to use soul powers. So let's get started. So this chapter is called. Wait, I should pull up. Yeah, I keep forgetting to tell the name of the chapters. The Elbaf I Dreamed Of is the name of this chapter, and we start off with this chapter going to the new giant pirates, along with we got Scopper, Chopper, and Sanji and Zoro are along with them. They're taking that elevator thing back up to the Sun World, right? No, is it the Sun World? Wait a minute. Yeah, this one's the Sun World. I forget now. What's the third one? There's a third level that Oda revealed early on here that we have not seen anything of yet. And I forget the name of that one right now. I keep thinking that's the Sun World, because that would seem like the Sun World would be the top. But was that the Heavenly World or something? And I wonder if that's where some other elders might be, that we only saw those silhouettes of some of those other elders that refused to allow Harold to marry Ida. And I'm wondering if some of them are like priests that live up there. Or druids would be another version of that. No, druids were like in Britain, right? I'm trying to think if there was a specific name for some kind of priest equivalent in the Scandinavian myth, in the Scandinavian history. I'll look that up afterward. So anyways, we got, this was funny actually. This was one little thing I wanted to point out. Like, why did Scopper came up, Sanji carried Scopper and Chopper together up to this ship. I don't know why he didn't just have one of the giants carry him in. Anyways, they're together. He's with them now. And so now Scopper is briefing the giants and the Straw Hats. Yes, the giants and the Straw Hats. Scopper, Chopper, Zoro. Yeah. He's briefing the giants and the Straw Hats here about their enemies. And he tells them right there, he says, okay, let me break this down for you. There's 3 people up there who have come to attack, who invaded us. And their mission is to they're attempting to take 10 of the giant children, the Elbaf's children. And they want to take them to the Holy Land and use them as hostages so that you guys will give up, Elbaf will give up its independence and become part of world government's military as like just subjugated as or conscripted, you could say too, into like military service for the world government's whims. This part was a little funny too. Harold's like, oh, how can a mere trio of humans run rampant on both the giant pirates? And I'm so surprised by that, but Harudin's seen how strong like Luffy is and how Doflamingo is, and we know they're not even the strongest. I think Harudin is underestimating a little bit how strong humans could be. I could see like Kaido coming here in a drunken stupor, for example, and I don't think Dorian Broggy could really stop him. I really don't know. I know they're very impressive with their what's that tech they use? The one to destroy they want to use that giant goldfish on kid shit. That was a cool attack, but like can two of them? That's something a power scaling question there. Maybe the two of those could stop Kaido, but Kaido and Big Mom are there. But so, anyways, Haruden I think is underestimating how strong humans could be. Some humans could be in the One Piece world. We got other examples like White Mihawk and Garp, and so anyways, oh no, he also mentions how can they even stop you, Scopper? But anyway, Scopper says, "Well, I'm sorry, I failed, plain and simple." And so Sanji steps in the conversation, and then he says, "Oh, they're children, but they also are giants, right? How are three humans going to be able to carry giant kids out of there?" And so Scopper starts explaining in turn each of the powers of the God's Knights. And so Scopper explains, the woman of the trio has a strange power with arrows. It seems wherever the arrows point, the children are helpless. Wherever she has under their control, in this case, the children are unable to resist this power. Again, this is something. Again, did I say this before? This is something too. Again, where I wonder if hockey can negate this power like this. We've seen the examples now. No, we haven't had many really. Actually, have we? We mostly have. The main one is Law himself. He used hockey to reverse the power that the doctor on Blackbeard's ship has to create diseases and other afflictions upon people revolving around that kind of stuff. But I wonder if he can do all kinds of like viruses, diseases, and what else? So those bacteria infections are things people often get. I wonder if he can do anything with that stuff too. Yeah, diseases, viruses, bacteria. That's the main thing. I don't know if diseases often involve a virus too. I forget. I'm not medical stuff, but I'm thinking of those kind of stuff. But anyways, Law resisted that. Not resisted it. He reversed what the doctor did to him. And so this is something that always comes up now when I see these kind of powers that can force people into doing certain actions or changing something about themselves. It just always seems to be the victims. Mainly seem to be people who have at this point in the story no hockey to resist it. Actually, the other example too. There's one other good example with Law again, but in this case he was asked by a kid about trying to use his teleport power on Kaido and Big Mom, and he pointed out that their hockey is too strong, so he can't do it to them. So there's always these kind of powers like that where I wonder too then if someone in Law's circle, his room, if they exert their hockey, if he couldn't like slice them up like he tends to do to like disable a large fighting force coming after him. And so here in this part here now we go to where Scopper continues. I like how Oda's done this a lot now. He's creating a countdown of sorts again. And he's talking about the children. I was saying using her arrow power. He's pointing out that Gunko is taking the children toward a shore so they can get onto one of the boats and then use that to transport the children. So he's like, here, that's the if they get on a ship escape, it's like game over because then we lose. But it's like, okay, can't you just go pursue them? It's Oda's setting us up in a way like we want to stop them from getting there before that even has to happen, which is a good strategy too. But I like the way Oda sets this up. It's like, okay, I see here because I'm thinking he's done this a lot with all the major arcs, hasn't he? Oda's done it with Dressrosa, um, um, Wano, Enies Lobby, even Marineford, Alabasta. I always thought the Marineford thing was funny. I was thinking that Sengoku, that didn't make any sense. Sengoku should have just had Ace executed right away instead of waiting for Whitebeard to come. Like, the only reason I could think he didn't want to do that is that he didn't want to enrage Whitebeard more by having Ace already executed. And so he was hoping to keep Ace alive there. But, like, also, why didn't you just keep Ace inside the, in a cell somewhere and keep him, like, out of reach, making it even harder for Whitebeard and his crew to get there? Having him right there while waiting for Whitebeard, I almost just made it like, unless he was trying to use it as like also like bait, like, hey, here's Ace, come get him. But either way, sorry, back to the countdown again. Yeah, Oda does these countdowns in a lot of arcs, starting ever since like what was the first? Actually, well, yeah, even in Little Garden it was kind of like that. Little Garden, Mr. 3 had done that trap. He trapped Zoro, Nami, and Vivi. I think just those three in that wax cake thing, and Luffy and the others had to hurry to save them, otherwise they would be enveloped in the wax and be killed because they'd like suffocate and almost like drown in the wax. So like that's the earliest one I could think of. It really had a countdown like that. I guess technically even with Kiro that was like a countdown, but like they were just trying to make sure those pirates couldn't get into the village and rampage and kill people there. But anyways, yeah. So now we got the countdown for this this arc where they're trying to keep the kids from getting onto the ship and repel and kick out the God's Knights. And so then Rhodes brings up a good point. Oh, okay, so if they're being directed by this power, why don't we just simply like take the children and pick them up? So when we saw that Saul and that other the math teacher, what was his name? He tried first. Was it Wolf? Mr. Wolf, I think his name was. He attempted first to do that very thing and just like grab the children and got severely injured by Summer's power. And now here, Scopper goes on with the briefing. Yes, I understand what you're saying, but the next guy, his name is Summers. And I've actually met this guy, and I know his powers. He has the powers of a thorn fruit. Now he's what did the other guy say? He's a briar man. Oh, the unofficial one calls him a briar man. I like that sound of that better. But he makes vicious, spiky vines, right? So we get the thing. We see a redrawing of the It was who was that? That was with his son, I think. Come on. There we go. Let me get this up. He's one of the kids there. It shows he can make them invisible too, and then he has these things circling around each of the children, so that way we can't touch them. And Gerd goes on like, really? That's a very sadistic thing. And he's like, yes. And then they're extremely tough stuff. So if we try to interfere with the children as well, with them being in line, they can bump into each other and start being inflicted with harmed by it. So we get this scene. Then we go next. And then on top of that, the final member of the trio is likely the one manifesting these nightmare creatures. He's using the children's greatest fears have come to life to prevent any attempt to save them, right? So not because they're using those things to distract the Elbaf citizens and warriors by having them, because there's some of them have been trying to save the children. The others are being forced to mitigate damage and harm to other citizens by fighting Killingham's apparitions. So Scopper finishes saying the irony is the children look like they're simply walking in broad daylight, and we can't do a thing to help them between these different skills the things, skills being used by our enemies. All due to these three people and using their powers in conjunction with each other. Oh wow, look how small Gerd is compared to even Haruden. Anyways, Haruden's like, we'll stop them. We'll find a way. And so someone else says, well, it seems the best course of action then is that we must go after all three of them causing the problems. And so, who's this? This is, wait, what's this one's name again? Goldberg, I think. And he says, you say they're immortal, but we have to have a way to stop them, right? Like maybe if we try trapping them or crushing or even eating them. Who says that? So someone says, yeah, I agree with that. Who says that? Anyways, I like what Goldberg's idea is. He's like, oh, what if we just try and crush them or eat them? And it's like, okay, I think you'll find him, like they'll just, Goldberg, if you did that to like Summers or Gunko, they're just gonna use the thing to like stab you in the mouth probably. They'd probably like you'd probably get killed. They'd probably shoot you through your brain with that thing. I wouldn't want to try eating something like that and have them like I would hockey my mouth first, like, okay, so they can't like just kill me instantly like there. So someone announces, okay, we're nearly at the sun world. We have arrived here. Let's get ready. And we get to the top and everyone's looking and Haruden's like, holy shit, what's going on? And we get a great shot here of everything going on. Wait a minute here. Yeah, that's good. So he sees the other creatures walking around and causing mayhem in the forest area of this whatever branch. We're probably near branch 8. I think was it 8? I think we're at where the children are at in the West Village, and we see the dragon and the other. Is that another Druger? Something like that. And then we get another shot too with the birds and the other animals flying around the forest on fire and everything. And then I think this is probably Haruden saying, is there like, how many of these things are there? And then someone else is pointing, wait a minute, is that the great air crash down over there? And then Scopper says, Dorian Broggy's, yes, that was Dorian Broggy, and they were fighting back against the monsters, but it looks the ship was taken down a while ago. And so, and it's like, yeah, Haruden's just like in disbelief at the chaos here. Like he said earlier, like how could they be causing so much, how could 3 humans be causing so much problems? And now he's just saying, because there's just so many of the warriors there, not just Dorian Broggy's crew, but plenty of other people here in the giants here still capable of fighting as well. So the chaos here has just got him in a bit of shock. And so we go, now Kashi appears, and he comes out, spots Haruden and the others. So he's all beat up here. So he's still trying to, he was trying earlier, I think, to hold off Dorian Broggy. There's still some of them, even here we're going to see, they're trying to talk down to Dorian Broggy, they're trying to see if they can make him come to their senses. And Dorian Broggy have grown so large under the Domi Reversi that they're just probably getting swatted away by flies, but they're still trying to. Oh, that's right, too. I just noticed, too, there's the one of the things still, too, in the corner here. Let me get my mouse over here. It looks just like the sun god with a sword and shield, actually. Wouldn't that be something if Luffy comes up here and sees that version? That would be hilarious. I noticed some of these other things are mostly like animals. There are like other ones that look like a drugger, too. Or maybe some of those are some other kind of undead warrior type things that are supposed to be like the things that come out of hell or Valhalla. Maybe? No, it wouldn't be Valhalla, right? So Kashi's here, and he's like, okay. He's like, oh, it's going to be hard to explain here, but I'll try to brief you on what's going on. First and foremost, Captains Dorian Broggy are trying to kill Chief Jarl. And he said, you have to try and stop them. Everything else has gone mad. And so Kashi here, he's all beat up bad. And so Gerd's like, what about the children? What's the status on them? And Kashi's like, well, Ripley and some others are going after them, but we haven't heard anything from them for a while. Whether or not they succeeded. It's like, at this point, they should have been able to reach the port. And then Kashi turns to Roto, and he's like, oh, Roto, I must tell you. One of your, what's his name? My brother. Yeah. So his brother's one of the hostages. I forget if they told us earlier if that's his brother, but actually I had that here to pull up. His brother's this one here. Wait, let me get it. There. Oh, come on. So his brother's this guy here in the upper left. He looks kind of like a weird version of Sanji. If Sanji had a brother that had I don't know, big brain. He's this one here who was like saying, "Oh, can I at least be saved?" He's kind of not a little bit cowardly and like just looking out for himself. And where was he? I think that's him at the end over here. So yeah, there's the others. And yeah, so I know some of these other people were mentioned. I think this one here, the girl, Johanna, is the great granddaughter to. Was that the one who's the great granddaughter to Jarl? One of them is, and so he's down there. So Roto's brother is one of the people, and so Roto runs off when he hears this. Like my brother's one of the hostages. I have to go, and the other's like, Roto, wait a minute. But then these guys, Gerd and Goldberg say, okay, we'll go with you then. So these guys are gonna try and meet up with Ripley's group, and so we go to Sanji, and of course Sanji's gonna do this first. He asks Kashi, wait, which way is the school? Nami's group's near there, isn't there? So then of course he's focusing on saving Nami. It's just like, come on, you should just say that our crew is there. Instead, no, it's Nami's group is there. Like, of course. Wait, where did he say that here? Yeah. So Kashi helps him out though and says like, okay, see that where the fire is? That's where the school and library are. They set it on fire. And so that's right. They made what's her name? Set it on fire. Saul's what was her name? Angie, I think. Saul's assistant was forced to set it on fire as a way to. The Summers made him do it to, they want to get rid of them learning, the Giants learning and being educated, and just have them remain warriors. And then Zoro reiterates, "You're saying that Dory and Bragi have gone mad?" And Kashi's like, "That's right." And now we get a great double panel here, setting up some of the other stuff of what's going on. And so first he start with, and says, "Kashi, you guys must hurry. Chief Yar's life is in danger." So yeah, there's the Western Village with their castle. That's right, it is Branch 8. And so it's a nice map here again. I like how when Oda provides us some little maps like this, I really enjoy how he illustrates these. The tree looks really good, tree branch especially. So that's right, school and library on that end, close to the trunk. And, it's Dancing, right. So I did get Goldberg. So it shows where they are. They're up there at the top. The elevator brought them close to the trunk, so they're not too far from the library. But the kids are there in the south. Here, let me get my mouse. So we get a great shot where they are. The Yar's still in the village. So Dory and Bragi are coming, because they were fighting some of the monsters in the forest there. And they, so we go to the school first, and we see the other, I think some of these other children are still sleeping. So this is like Angie. There's probably the principal and some of the other teachers are there. And I don't know if they're all tied up, but I know they were tied up. Well, wasn't Angie briefly not. They probably got tied up again either by Gunko's power. And so we see them just there watching it. They're probably, and I'm sure they don't have to, we can imagine they're all, like the teachers in particular are having some tears there because I know Angie was earlier because they're seeing this life's work they invested in and stuff being burnt down, and particularly the library. Oh, by the way, we haven't seen where that owl is since this happened, have we? There's the one there that has like apparently like a devil fruit that changes the size of the documents and books that come in there, and so something interesting here. I had to check back on this. We go to the Straw Hat crew. And then Robin's like watching the library burn down, and she's like freaking out over that. And so each of them are commenting on something. First, I'm gonna start with the other at the bottom. So Nami's like, "They're taking the children. Get these arrows off of me," which I like that Oda kept it in character. Nami always looks out for the children right away, like we saw in Punk Hazard. So she's worried about their well-being. Usopp's like, I can't believe that Dorian Bragi are become like this. What? I never could imagine this would happen. And Jinbei brings up something interesting. It's like, oh, Chopper's still not back, but what happened to Brook? He got some kind of idea and he ran off. So I checked too. Brook, it was last seen, I think it was chapter 1150. He was still there when his stuff started going down. He was still tied up with the group. It was a little bit after we saw, first we saw Gunko a few chapters before wanted him to be submit to her and be a slave, her slave, because she's a fan of his music. But he was still there. No, that's right. The last picture time they saw her, I think in that 1150 was when, that was when Gunko, I should pull it up actually. That was when she, I think she remembered Brook as knowing him before she became a God's Knight. All right, no, I got the chapter number wrong. It was the end of 1149. That was we saw Brook briefly after that, but that was the last time we saw that. That's when we saw that flashback with her and Gunko, where she remembered him, like, and it hinted at maybe her being his daughter or something else, close family member to him, before she became a God's Knight. But Brook was still seen. Where was it? Oh yeah, I see him right there. No, where was it? This page. Oh yeah, there in 1150, he was there with tied up still. So he somehow got up and has gone off somewhere. I'm thinking he's gonna go find Gunko. At this moment, that's all I can think of. Unless he's got, actually, can he untie himself though? Aren't they tied up with the arrows? Like, so how did he run off though? He looks all bandaged up like a mummy there. It's actually kind of cute because he's dead. He's technically dead, so he kind of looks kind of like a mummy more because his face is a skull. But he's off somewhere, so we don't see what he's doing this chapter, but he's up to something to try to help out. I'm thinking too, if he got his, if he could get untethered, he could use his powers. He can create ice from another world, if I recall correctly. He could summon the ice stuff. He could try to help put out some of the fires as well. Jinbei was helping out earlier with that, taking water and using his Fishman karate abilities to do that. But we don't know what's going on here with that yet. So, wait 1 second. I had to fix that screen a little. Okay, so we have we go to the team going after wait, who's with that there? Who's that guy? Oh, that's Oimo, right? Oimo and Ripley are leading a group of people to go after and save the children before they get to the boat. So that's where they went. Okay, so Kashi, because we saw Kashi. Wait, is that his name again? Yeah, Kashi. Oimo and Kashi. So we see the children briefly. We got Colin and the others. Colin's still ahead there, and he's trying to keep them in line and keep everyone from like freaking out. And like one of them's just saying like, "Oh, we're gonna be at the port soon, and then we'll be gone." And he's like, "Stop whining. We're warriors of Elbaf, or you're warriors of Elbaf." And yet someone else is like, "But we're not warriors." I like that he's keeping up his efforts to keep the others from freaking out, because they're all children who are just afraid. They can see the reality. The situation isn't looking good for them, and they're being kidnapped. But and Colin's doing a great job. And so we go to Chief Jarl, and this is where we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this chapter with referencing the title. And some of the other warriors are like, "Chief Jarl, you must flee. We can't stop Dorian Bragi. The others have failed. And there's no reasoning with them. You must get out now. They're coming for you." And Jarl here, I really respect Jarl. He does. This is great. This is Jarl's moment in his chapter for me. I think I'm gonna be making him the thumbnail. I already got the rough drawn up here. And he's like, "No, you may flee if you wish, but I have to stay and say something to Elbaf." And so he gets one of the other people to turn on one of the Denden Mushies they have there. And he's like, "Hear me, Elbaf. I wish to tell you something. Something you must hear before I die." And other people are listening, like, "Wait, is that Chief Jarl? What's going on here?" Hold on. So, and he goes on. "Before our late king, wise King Harold, died, he wished to bring Elbaf into the world government. so that we might coexist peacefully with the rest of the world, and put behind our past and stuff. But on that day, 14 years ago, he was betrayed, and his wish was denied. And we see, so I think Gunko's still being possessed by Emu at this moment. We don't see the eyes exactly, but she's still got the wing thing going on, which I think only happened right after Emu possessed her. So we have other people stopping and listening, like, wait, what's going on here? What about what happened 14 years ago? And so he goes on to say, I was there that day, and I saw a demon slaughter Harold and the rest of his soldiers. Harold fought to his dying breath, basically, to resist being turned over, being forced to bend the knee to this demon. Is that how it says it? Let's see, but active a demon. Yeah, and the official one is like he struggled to his last breath. So yeah, I kind of like how the speech is written better in the unofficial one. I'm gonna pull up too. And so all these people start listening, like, wait, what? A demon killed him? So I like this. This is funny too. He's skirting the truth quite a bit, Jarl. He's not gonna explain the stuff about the possession stuff that probably between Shanks and Scopper they would be able to tell him about these God's Knights and what their ability actually is and what it did to it did to Jarl. But instead he makes it out as a separate entity in a separate body, so to speak. What came in and attacked Jarl and Harold and his guard. And so it's like he fought and he died, and then we get a lot of reactions of some of the other citizens. Like, wait a minute, wasn't it Loki that killed him? That's what we were all told before. And so yeah, obviously Jarl must have been the main one to tell that story before Loki left. So it was Scopper, Shanks, and Jarl were there, and the other soldiers. Loki took the other soldiers who witnessed it, so they weren't able to be there to be questioned. I'm still wondering where those guys are too. What happened to the rest of Loki's crew, which were his father's guards that survived that incident? The only guys that Shanks captured Loki, and they had him tethered up and tied up in the underworld all this time, and. So he goes on. Actually, I'm going to go with the unofficial a little bit too. Like, I didn't tell the truth. I held my tongue. I like the verbiage. But I withheld the truth, fearing our people would rise up and fight against the world government in vengeance, for the death of our king. And and I knew that that's what Harold would never want to see happen. He would not want to have our blood spilt or have us attack the people of the world government and have their like fears and prejudices against us resumed, like again of us just being this bloodthirsty nation. So I held my tongue and I said nothing about the incident and how that happened. Loki, the Prince Loki, he decided to bear the rage of our rage and took the blame for it, and then he went to sea. So I don't know which version of this to like better, but he calls him boorish. Jarl calls Loki boorish here, and this, as you can see, he calls him tactless. So he may be a boorish man or tactless man, but Loki is innocent in the death of his father. And then Zoro points out, a bit inaccurate, but a nice turn of phrase. And Harudin's still like, nicer than he deserves. No, Harudin. No, I disagree with Harudin here. He's got to let go of this stuff a little bit more now. It's going to take him time, I know. But it's like, Loki does deserve this part. He did other stuff wrong. Remember, Harudin doesn't know either. Does he not realize that when Loki destroyed the village, what village was that called that his Loki's mom came from? Edith. Was that her name, Edith? I don't think he knows yet either that Loki... No, he must have told him. We saw that in the flashback. I don't know if he told him when Loki's recounting that stuff, his version in the underworld. I wonder if Harudin fully understands that Loki avenged Harudin's mom when he found out they were poisoning her. So I disagree with Harun here. I like giving credit where it's due. Like, okay, Loki was a bully to you. He caused a lot of havoc. He killed a lot of. He even killed giant Elbathian citizens, his own citizens, because he's royalty. But anyways, it's just like, okay, come on, Harun. So now we get a thing here. We see the God's Knights as they're listening as this message continues on. Okay, and he says, but today it looked like these demons had given up initially, but now once again they want our power, and they have sent 3 demons to come back and try to take over our country. And so we just see, I don't think Killingham's there. He actually looks like Killingham's somewhere else, but they show him in the same panel here. I mean, you can kind of see the separation right there. He's still going around. That's actually cool. He looks very similar to I didn't realize that. Did we see that before? It reminds me a bit of he looks more like a horse there. It reminds me of Ethan, the Gorosei, the way he's going around floating on the air. And he's got those flame things. It reminds me, I think Ethan had those too. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of how Kaido was fly around. He had those flames around his limbs that allowed him to fly. He didn't like just levitate on his own. So we see Gunko. Yeah, Gunko. Yeah, it definitely must be still possessed. She's just floating above the army of the giants. Emu's transformed into the Dome Reversi. And meanwhile, we see Summer somewhere else. I think he's somewhere else, actually, yeah. He's like, I guess everything's over now. The mission's over. I think I'll just go take a nap. Oh, no, he says, no, that's how I said in the other one. Wait a minute. Yeah, he said in the other one, the mission's over. I'll go back to sleep. This one is like, I can take a nap and the mission, still complete the mission at this point. His confidence is funny. How would they cover it here? What? So, sorry. So he goes on, sorry, children, you must cover your ears if you can. Okay. Yeah. So he tells the children, you must, please don't listen to this part, basically. And, okay, this message is more about Usopp. Okay, so Usopp goes on and saying, you tell him, Jarl, don't tell the Elbaf I dream of doesn't bow to anyone. So Jarl directs this message toward the God's Knights, and like, you listen up, demons. If you spare the children's lives, we will freely give up our culture and history. But if you think you've broken our spirit, you are sorely mistaken. We were not. Yeah, I like this. Do not expect heralds' patience from us. You think we'll just roll over and let you slave us? Who do you think you're talking to? Okay, no. Okay, that was before the other part. I did that wrong. Anyways, he says the world is destined to be split in two as Harley's prophecy. Wait, who's Harley's prophecy again? Is that mentioned before? Oh, maybe that's right. Is that the prophecy thing maybe written in that mural? Oh, I gotta look into that now. And he says if the world is meant to have a great divide like this, it says in the unofficial, then Elbaf shall stand against the world government. And he like yelled it. I should have yelled it out. Elbaf shall be an enemy to the world government. He's like, do you think that your thorns and your illusions and your powers to transform our enemies, our allies against you, will cause us to be fall back and be afraid of you and submit to you? We will never give up to your rule. And he's like, am I wrong, warriors of Elbaf? And now he starts rallying. We get other troops elsewhere rallying up. And we see Zoro and Haruden together, and Zoro's like, oh, I like this old man. He knows how to get these rouse up warriors. He's a go-getter type. And Haruden's like, how do you say in the other one? Haruden says here, oh yes, 3 centuries ago, he was the strongest of us. He was known as the strongest of us. Or how do you say here? I figured you would. I think he said, I bet you do. He was meant the strongest. Yeah, okay. 3 centuries ago, he was known as the strongest among us. And then Zoro's like getting it. I mean, Usopp's getting all inspired, like, oh, the Elbaf I want is back. And Nami's like, great, great, but can you help us figure out how to undo these arrows now? And Yaro's speech goes on. He rouses up again, like his voice again, like, protect the peace that Harold envisioned. And we see some other giants rallying together again, try to slow down. Oh no, that's Jarl there. Okay, no. So at this point, Dory and Bragi have got up to the village, and they're coming down upon Jarl, and so him and these other giants are facing off against them. So this is right at the end now, and I just realized again, and Harun's like, oh, we finally caught up. And then who says that? Someone else. I think that's who's with him. Stevenson's with him, right? Because Goldberg went with Gerd. And I think it's him that's saying that. Like one of them says, like, watch out that they don't trap you between them. And we end the thing with Zoro saying, don't worry, I've got a plan. And he pulls out Emna. And then I think that's Emna, right? It looks like, yeah, with the little flowery things. And we just end right there. Oh, that speech from Jarl was so good. I can't wait to have that animated. Like the voice actor. I can't wait to hear a voice actor. I wonder if they'll have the same one. That's right. Jarl was in Big Mom's flashback. I have to watch that again now. I can't remember what his voice was like. And I want to hear hopefully the same voice actor is still around. I know some of these older guys. I think like White Bear's original voice actor passed away some time ago. So we've had someone else when we saw him in the flashback with Odin. And so now I'm trying to think, what would be the thing that Zoro could do to help? Like, can he like separate? I'm thinking maybe he just swing Enma and use some of that hockey attack like he did when it sucked out his hockey when he was testing it, and like just try to divide and conquer Dory and Bragi together, trying to keep them from being a group, so that way they can't use that field of influence that the Dome Reversi has around them and transform any of the other warriors defending Jarl or even Jarl himself from, well, they're going to try and kill Jarl here. So they'll probably just kill all these other guys we see here attempting to stand with him and stop Dory and Bragi. They probably won't be changed, but I know, we know now that Zoro has conquered hockey, but will he remember, did Scopper really specify that you have to use that? Because I was reading back there, I was remembering how when Chopper was watching Scopper fight Summers, he was like, how did he harm him before when no one else could? What's the trick? And now we know it's the Conqueror's hockey being wielded through a weapon, or even if you just wield it through in a punch or a kick. It's what harms these beings. And so Zoro's here, and he's got it, Conqueror's hockey. So, well, oh, no, he'll probably just do too. If he just slices right there, look how tall Dory Bragi is. If he can do like something like his 3-sword, his Santorio one, like he did against Pika. I'm thinking about how he did it that way. He could just slice them up right there before they attack. I bet that's what Oda could do. Like have an epic scene where he uses one of his Santorio attacks and just slices a huge double hockey thing with Enma and Sandai Kitetsu. Or he'll have Wado too, but it'll be in his mouth. But he'll go like something like that and just have a double hockey slash thing, cut them off from the chest up so they can't finish their coming down upon Jarl like that. And that's the thing too. What do you think? I'm wondering if Jarl will pass away in this arc, or if he'll stay. I feel like he won't, because he'll have to be like the one to like continue this, reiterate this story later, and he'll like, so I have a feeling Haruden's going to be the king, could be the king after this. I'm still not sure how they'll feel about Loki being the king. Harold's wish was to have Loki be king, but I'm going with, I know like, it was Tekken, right? He was saying that he thinks Haruden would be king, and I feel like that might be what will happen too, because Loki still won't be easily embraced by the citizens because of all the stuff that happened, and they spent the last 14 years thinking he was a patricidal killer, and so Loki probably also wouldn't want to be king still. So back to Jarl, I feel like Jarl would have to be the one to like formally coronate Hyrule or whoever into to be king. So it almost would seem symbolically fitting that he'll go down in battle here, like he probably always would want to, because he's also a giant warrior. But I have a feeling he won't, because we don't have any other elders here. We know that are on our side. We saw those silhouettes of those elders that stonewalled Harold from marrying Ida and other stuff like that. So, those people probably aren't going to like this situation any better than Jarl would. So, I hope he don't die in that context. And wondering now what Brooke's going to get up to. Maybe Brooke's going to go try and help them at the library. Where did he say he went? Let me go back here now. He ran off. Jinbei just says, and he ran off. No, Jinbei's looking the other way, though. Maybe Jinbei's going to try, not Jinbei, maybe Brooke's going to try and do something to Gunko again to try to save the children from reaching there by, if he distracts Gunko, well, we know she's possessed by Ian, but I don't know if he understands that. But if he still can, his attempt, I think, is to try and distract her, so that her power is deactivated and the children are able to freely escape the way it's bounding them to and directing them toward the shoreline. And we didn't get this. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see anything with Luffy and Loki. I hope we get that in the next chapter. And I don't think there's a break this week. You should be able to see something there. And so, yeah, we got all the giants there. So then we got to also see, that's right, so Ripley. So we're going to have Ripley and Oimo and Goldberg, Gerd, and Roto are all going to probably meet up hopefully next chapter. We'll see. And then that's going to be something too, because they're going to try to stop the children. But if they can't, Goldberg and Gerd and Roto know that what's happening now, but what can they do to stop them? You know what? Oh no, that's right. I was gonna say make a wall in front of them, but then if they bump into each other, we saw what happened. And Scopper just reiterated it to us. They'll just hurt each other. Maybe if you put one thing between each of them, something to stop them. But maybe the thorns around them themselves might backfire onto them, right? That may not work either to work on that. Something else I was thinking of too while I'm still thinking about it. I wonder if there's a way to destroy that abyssal pentagram. I'm thinking I'll have to do something with Conqueror's Hockey as well. That because if they win here, and I'm sure there's going to be a victory of some sort, but like if they can repel the God's Knights and all this stuff, we have a more happy ending. There's still this problem with that abyssal thing there and how that thing was left there. And I'm wondering if Jarl tried to have that thing destroyed after King Harold's death. We never saw that. The last scene we saw in the last chapter where Loki was just leaving, and after the fallout of that battle, or actually maybe Loki can destroy it too. He's got Conqueror's Hockey, and maybe he'll be the only one who can do it. I was thinking about Zoro or Luffy just like hitting it with Conqueror's Hockey with a punch, or Zoro with slicing it. They should cut that thing up so that the God's Knights couldn't send reinforcements again at some later point here after this is all said and done. And I'm just wondering, I wonder if Jarl tried to have that thing. That's probably why he just had people posted there. That's something too. Jarl, I feel a little bad for those two guards we saw there now, because Jarl probably had them posted there with the knowledge that something could come from there at some point since Harold's death, since that day. And then those two guys were just unable to like do anything when that happened, because they were like, I think it looked like, if I remember that from that chapter correctly, it looked like Gunko had probably used her power to start strangling those guards when they approached her and Shamrock. And this was a good chapter. I really enjoyed this speech. Now I'm glad we're finally getting into some action here about what's going on. And it's just I'm really hyped over this now. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. So that's all I got for today. I can't wait for the next chapter. Today's Monday, so hopefully by on Friday we'll get the raw version to see what happens. So only 4 other days. Of course, I'll do this on Sunday or Monday next week. And I gotta look up this Harley's prophecy. Is that the thing? Let me go look that up quickly. I should look that up again. I forgot this. Harley was mentioned here in chapter 1136. It's that ancient text about that it's so old even the giants don't have like a proper interpretation of it that they can understand. The world has been struck. Yeah, so this is related to that mural that Ripley and Frankie see in a few chapters after this. But yeah, in each case, there's about some kind of world being destroyed, and there's a sun god named Nika. And then, yeah, we see the silhouette here. Okay, this is yeah, this is I was just bringing up whether or not Jarl might die in the story. If he does Oda does decide he's gonna die in the story, I hope it's not before he's able to see that Luffy has the appearance of the sun god. He describes it right here in this back in this chapter, and the so yeah, the Harley thing, that's what it was now. So Jarl just mentioned that again in this chapter. Where is it now? Where did I just put it? Right here. So yeah, if the world's destined to be split in two or be destroyed, as the Harley suggests, then we'll make sure we're going to side on this, against the world government. That was very poignant. I see what Jarl probably has. I wonder if he's been aware that this possibility was coming after Harold's actions. So anyways, yeah, that's it. I'm going to comb over that again and that stuff, and I'm going to end this video here. I'm really hyped now. I can't wait for next week, and thanks for watching.